for her stuff. And she said, stop in the name of God, Acts 2:38. And so, I always wanted to be a hero, and this was my opportunity. So I called the police. But before the police came to take this person away, I said, why did you stop for an old lady hollering Bible verses? He said, Bible verses? She had an Acts 2:38. That's a joke, brothers. You see, I know your time is valuable, so I want to honor that. So I'm going to tell you like Elizabeth Taylor told her 4th, 5th, and 6th husband, don't get comfortable, I won't be here long. And 2 warnings and 2 disclaimers I want to make to all of my speeches. My subject might make you a little uncomfortable if you're not comfortable with yourself. Secondly, my subject might make you a little uncomfortable if you're too comfortable with yourself. You see, today I want you to turn on your gender. I want you to turn on your parenting style. I want you to turn on your race. I want you to turn on your professional standing. I want you to turn on your sorority and fraternal affiliation and its teachings. Because my subject deals directly with you as a parent, with you as a mentor, with you as a professional, your race, your gender, your fraternity, and your sorority, because it is the very essence of who you're supposed to be and the mission you're supposed to carry out. You see, I want you to listen to the sound of my voice as it reverberates from my ancestors to be a conduit to carry out their hopes, to carry out their dreams, to carry out their prayers. My hope is that you go home and see yourself as an instrument of progress as opposed to a tool manipulated by myths, misinformation, misconceptions, and myopic thinking. So to do this, I'm going to need some audience participation. I believe I'm a more dialogical type lecturer, so I'm going to need a little call and response. I'm not Baptist, but I've been told I have some leanings to that spiritual response, right? So let's get down to business. I hope you're ready for this. Are you ready?
Yeah.
My subject today is, what other people think about you ain't none of your business. I'm going to say that again because I don't want you to miss that. What other people think about you ain't none of your business. You see, I think we worry too much about other people's opinions when they don't have to deal with the consequences of our lives. They don't have to deal with the consequences of our journey. You see, if the journey was short, they all would have followed you. But the journey was long and it weighed on them. And they made excuses not to be excellent. They made excuses not to be great. They made excuses not to reach their full potential. And your journey was stunted because you listened to their opinions. My dear family, education is the birthright of all human beings. Every man, woman, and child that fails to educate themselves declines the very legacy in which you were born into. They have disrespected the pain and the suffering of those who went before them, who sweat, bled, and died so you could be in this time. My dear family, I want to tap into your cognitive consciousness. I want to look at this thing that we call education and how it has lifted up men and women from the depths of despair to the heights of excellence. I want to talk about this, our cognitive dissonance when it comes to realizing the importance of education in your life. The most important thing that you can have in your breast pocket is education. Education gives you a self-awareness. Education gives you self-esteem. Education gives you total autonomy of who you are see, there was a time when men and women of a certain hue had to steal a peek at a page. They had to hide around bushes to learn the alphabet. They had to risk their very lives to learn to read, yet we take it as a plaything. There was a time when mama and daddy worked 18-hour days from can't see morning to can't see night, and they didn't have time to read. Yet we waste 7 hours a day in frivolity. You don't hear me.
I hear you.
We're thinking about whether we should kneel at a football game while we should be kneeled at the doors of education, where the dropout rate of African American boys are 68% and climbing. We should kneel at the doors of education while girls are not being taught the sciences and math because they say that's for men. You see, if the journey was short, they all would have followed you. But the journey was long, and many of them made excuses to stay at home and not reach their full potential. You see, you're not a product of your environment. You're a product of your thinking. Oh, I got to say that again. Write that down. You're not a product of your environment. You're a product of your thinking. You see, it doesn't matter if you're holding all the right cards. You have to play the hand that you were dealt. You see, until you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at will never change. You see, I ask my students, my soldiers, and my subordinates all the time the Socratic question: is knowledge power? Is knowledge power? They say yes. I say emphatically no. Knowledge is not power. The application of knowledge is power. Many of us know what to do. We have the knowledge in our head, in our grasp, but we are too cowards to apply it. We're fearful of the criticism. We're too afraid of failing. We have been baptized in our trauma and living in the excrement of our excuses. You see, education is a necessity. And if not captured, it makes you unnecessary, insignificant, and not worthy to carry out the legacy of those who died so you can live. Listen to me. There's an old saying, and most people die at 25, but they're not buried until they're 75. Oh, I'll say that again. Most people die at 25, but they're not buried until they're 75. Why? Because they have given up on their hopes and dreams. They believed in the false narrative of mediocrity. The false narrative that education is not for everybody. Most of us have traded in our potential for greatness for the false narrative of being realistic. You see, being realistic is a myth. It's a misconception. It's manipulation of the very essence of who you are. You see, the only reality is God. The only reality to your purpose in life is the God-given mission that was bestowed on you. You see, you can't be playing PlayStation while other people are building space stations. You become an agent to your own suicide. PlayStation here represents frivolity and the misuse of time, the misuse of your life, the misuse of laying the foundation for your children's children. I'm often asked in these highfalutin interviews, the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, what do you want your legacy to be? I said, I want to provide a life for my children that they don't have to recover from. That's my legacy. You see, dear family, I'm going to let you in on a secret. When you're striving for greatness, folks won't like it. Oh, and they're going to talk about you. But what other people think about you ain't none of your business. You see, you will never be an eagle hanging out with chickens. You see, the man that's standing before you is not just barking some eloquent speech. I'm not just being harsh on you. The man that is standing before you is dealt a pretty bad hand. The man that is standing before you came up in a pretty bad environment. Molested at 10 years old by a family friend. Special education in the 8th grade. Failed the 9th grade. Failed the 10th grade. Failed the 12th grade. The only reason I got to go to college is because we know they love big old athletes. And so I was able to go there and play football. I was able to go there and play basketball, but I still had not dealt with the molestation. I didn't know whether I was a man or a woman. So anybody who looked at me with a jaundiced eye, I beat them to a pulp because I wanted somebody to feel my pain. But as you know, everything runs out. You just can't go around bullying people. So I was in a party. Probably the Q's probably told me to come there. I didn't really want to go. I was in a party, and they had 6 guys there waiting for me because I was known to start fights. Shot me in the back, beat me with a shovel, and I had to be airlifted out to Tyler Medical Center. I was thrown out of school, expelled, and so I came into the Army, but I still hadn't dealt with the molestation. 2 Article 15s, chapter paperwork in hand. And I hear this booming voice. And everybody had thrown me away. I said, God, is that you? He said, come here, Private. It wasn't God, it was the Sergeant Major. He said, pick your head up. You are more than your poor self-esteem. He said, you are more than your poor self-worth. He said 4 words that changed my life. Leaders, I want you to hear this. I believe in you. Oh. 28 years I had never heard that from another man. I believe in you. All I heard was ridicule. All I heard was debasement and telling me what I couldn't be and what I shouldn't be and where I couldn't go. He brought me into his office and he ministered to me for an hour. He made me his driver. He sent me to 10 promotion boards, Soldier of the Month boards in a row. I ain't passed none of them. He said, that boy dumber than I thought. But what I gained by doing is a sense of self-esteem, self-worth, because I didn't want to let him down. And when I gained a little self-esteem and self-worth, I said to myself, it took me 25 years to destroy my life. I'm going to spend the next 25 years rebuilding my life. As of last June, I was in school for 25 straight years. You see, we will never be able to teach our children to fly unless we have wings. I wanted my children to see an excellent real model, not a role model. my children to know they don't have to go outside for an example of inspiration. They have somebody in their house. Now, I want to talk to you, young scholars. Live your life with no excuses. Become a person of substance. You see, education is not just education. Education helps to uplift not only yourself, but everyone around you. Education reveals your potential for greatness. And without it, you're sentencing yourself to a life of mediocrity. Your journey will be filled with obstacles. You'll be lonely at times. And people are going to say, you don't need education. You can have more money outside of that education. But all money ain't good money. Folks are going to tell you that education ain't for everybody. You can make it without it. I say don't quit. Even a turtle has to stick his neck out to make progress. You stay in there, you fight, and you don't quit. And I want to say this as I close. How does the little boy from Alexandria, Louisiana, who started in special ed, end up with 2 PhDs and his 5 master's degrees? Right? Because I didn't listen to other people's opinions. And I did not quit. And I wanted to be a person of substance. And I'll say this as I close. You know, if a preacher says that I got to pass around the collection plate, it's going to be another 5 minutes. Listen. A young soldier came up to me the other day and he said, Chaplain, you know, chaplains have confidentiality. He said, Chaplain, when I die, I want the Dallas Cowboys to be my pallbearers. I said, why is that? He said, so they can let me down one more time.